This is the HTC T-Mobile myTouch 4G Disassembly Instructional Video Part 1, brought to you by CellularDR.com. Professional cell phone repair services performed by factory-trained technicians are available at www.cellulardr.com/repair. The following tools are required for this repair: T5 Torx screwdriver, 000 Phillips screwdriver, and plastic prying tool. Begin by removing the battery door, battery, SIM card, and the memory card. We are going to remove the 3 screws from the back. 2 of these screws are T5 Torx and 1 is Phillips. Using the T5 Torx screwdriver, remove the left and right screws. Now using the small Phillips screwdriver, remove the bottom screw. Using the prying tool, carefully slide and twist all around the side of the phone, separating the back frame from the front trim. It is normal for the plastic to make some cracking noises as you're unsnapping and separating the 2 pieces, but be very careful not to press the prying tool too far in, damaging the internal components of the phone. Before removing the screws to separate the back housing, we are going to very carefully loosen the keyboard mylar from the side buttons from the back housing. Using the prying tool, very gently pry in between the button and the housing, just to loosen the buttons so that when pulling the back housing out, they do not tear. Now using the T5 Torx screwdriver, remove the 4 screws from the back of the phone. Using the prying tool, lift up under the antenna and remove it from the phone. Now, being very careful not to damage the fragile side button flex cables, using the prying tool, carefully slide and twist all around the side of the phone, separating the back housing from the front trim. It is normal for the plastic to make some cracking noises as you're unsnapping and separating the 2 pieces, but be very careful not to press the prying tool too far in, damaging the internal components of the phone. Once you have completely loosened the back housing, very carefully, with the phone laying face down, lift the back housing from the left side, making sure we do not damage the thin coax cable and charge port underneath. Using the prying tool, lift up and gently detach the vibration motor from the left back side of the phone and carefully pull and detach it from the board. Using the prying tool, very carefully lift and detach the flex cable, which is wrapped around the coax cables on the left side. Now go ahead and detach and remove the coax cables from the left side of the phone. These are very small and fragile cables and connectors, so take your time and be sure not to damage them. Remove the tape securing the main flex cable to the motherboard. Directly to the right, go ahead and detach one side of the thin black coax cable. Now go ahead and turn the phone to the side and, using the prying tool, lift and unsnap the lower navigation PCB flex cable from the motherboard. Using the prying tool, release the 2 latches holding the motherboard in place and carefully lift and pry the motherboard loose from the housing. Before attempting to remove the motherboard completely, using the small Phillips screwdriver, remove the 2 screws holding the main flex cable assembly in place. Using the prying tool, very carefully release the power switch flex cable from the housing. This button is very fragile, so take your time to make sure you do not damage this cable. Once the power button is released from the housing, using the prying tool again, carefully separate the board from the back of the LCD screen. There are several strips of double-sided adhesive tape, which is holding them together. Now carefully flip the entire assembly over, but do not attempt to remove it just yet. Using the prying tool, remove the black tape covering the small latch and unlock the latch by lifting it and simply slide out the small flex cable from the connector. Go ahead and remove the thin black coax cable from the motherboard. Make sure the tape securing the main flex cable to the motherboard, which we partially removed earlier, is still pulled back. Now carefully lift and disconnect the 2 legs of the main flex cable from the back of the motherboard. Now we are going to remove the main rear camera from the main flex cable. Using the prying tool, remove the black tape securing the connector. Lift and unlock the latch holding the camera flex cable. Still using the prying tool, lift and remove the shield holding the camera in place. Now carefully pry the camera out of the socket and slide the flex cable out of the connector, removing the camera with the flex cable. Flip over the main flex cable. Now we are going to remove the front camera from the main flex cable assembly. Using the prying tool, remove the black tape securing the connector. Once the tape is removed, lift and unlock the latch holding the front camera flex cable. Pry the front camera from the main flex cable, and once loose, slide the front camera flex cable out of the small connector. Now we are going to remove the SIM and memory card assembly from the motherboard. Using the prying tool, gently lift and disconnect the flex cable from the connector. Now very carefully and patiently slide the prying tool underneath the SIM and memory card assembly and detach it from the motherboard. This concludes the disassembly of the HTC T-Mobile myTouch 4G. Be sure to watch part 2 of this video if you need to disassemble the LCD and touchscreen assembly. Purchase your original high-quality parts at cellulardr.com. We are the leading national cell phone repair service center in the United States and offer cell phone repair services performed by factory-trained technicians. Go to www.cellulardr.com/repair. Thank you for watching.